Welcome to practice. My name's Brenton. I'm joined by Ollie today.
Hi.
And this is Yoga in Your Living Room. Today we're going to do a short practice aimed at relieving some tightness and soreness in the lower body, specifically in our feet and in our hips and in our low back. So grab a tennis ball if you have one at home, and we'll get started in a standing position with the tennis ball on the floor. Now, if you have issues with balance, feel free to go and do this near a countertop. But taking the tennis ball to the floor, we'll stand on it with the right foot. And let's stand on it in a way where it gets right underneath the heel side of the foot. So we want to start with this, and what we're going to do is we're just going to gently apply pressure, kind of like we're rocking back and forth from one side to the next, and then start to move the ball forward on the foot. And your foot's going to start getting wider, so you may have to find a few spots on the inside and then more on the outside. So what we're doing here is we are stretching a little bit into the fascia on the underside of the feet. And the tennis ball work is going to be really beneficial for our fascia. And our fascia is like a big net around all of our muscles, a net of connective tissue. And it literally connects everything. The fascia makes it so that there is no distinguishing muscle from its neighbor. Okay, so now once you kind of get, let's say that you've smashed out the whole foot, let's start rolling the ball between the heel and the ball side of the foot. And if you find spots that are tender in here, feel free to hang out on them a little bit more. You're getting your toes? That's nice. So really explore. Now you could really do this on one foot even up to 10 minutes or so. Just getting a really good job of getting everywhere in here. Imagine that you are doing this the way that you're washing your hands during the coronavirus, where you're washing your hands and you're just like, did I get everything in between the fingers, underneath the nails? When you're ready to switch feet, become a soccer player, kick it on over, and then we'll start with the rocks, just applying that pressure from the heel all the way forward. So we're starting at the underside of the foot. This fascia sheath runs through the entire backside of the body. So we start here first. You may actually be surprised that just doing something as simple as this will help you stretch more effectively into the backside of your body. Because a lot of times when we're stretching and we feel that sensation of a stretch, a lot of times that sensation is coming from the fascia, and it's not necessarily coming from the muscles within it. And when you've done a really good job of stamping out everywhere on the foot, then you can start rolling a little bit. Really give it some good pressure. And now we can go ahead and come all the way down onto our backs so we can start dealing with our hips and our low back. Now, if you feel like there is another part of your leg that is very sore and would appreciate some of this, know that you can do things with the tennis ball along your calf, the front and back of your thigh, even the inside and outside of your thigh. But for today, we're just going to stick with the hips. So let's take our tennis ball, start with your feet on the ground here, and position your pelvis comfortably. If you feel like you would benefit from getting your head up onto a pillow, you can do that as well. You want to make sure that you're very, very comfortable here. So press down with your feet, lift your hips up so that you can take the tennis ball underneath the right buttock. And let's try to get the tennis ball towards the spine, but it's not on any bone. So you kind of got to feel around in there. If it's on the bone itself, it's not going to be comfortable. But let's get it more towards the inside of the butt cheek and more towards the top side of the butt. So this is where our big glute muscles start. They start at the top of that pelvis there. And imagine that there's like this rim, like a rainbow rim, that's your pelvis, along the upper side of the buttock. And start tracing that rainbow rim with the tennis ball. And if something feels overly tender, you kind of have to assess that out. Is it overly tender because it's sore and it's overactive, or is it overly tender because you're too close to a bone? So what you're really helping yourself do here, this is more of a reset between your brain and your muscle than it is anything else. And what is happening here is that the tennis ball is sort of interfering with the brain's communication with that muscle. Because it's easier to activate a muscle than it is to relax it. So sometimes our muscles stay in this low state of activation and they have a hard time relaxing. And it's the brain that starts all of that. So really roll around in here. And now let's find a spot for this tennis ball where it's comfortably underneath a bunch of flesh. We're going to find a few places to move here, but it's comfortably underneath a bunch of flesh. And we're going to take our knees over to the right a little bit. And you decide how much that is. See if you can feel the weight of your pelvis release down into that tennis ball. And then you can bring your knees back up through center and do it again. And as they windshield wiper slowly over and up, we want to feel the muscle release and relax underneath that ball. And you're going to feel here, sometimes the muscle will start grabbing in a little moment because it's like, holy cow, what are you doing? And that's where you got to pause and give your brain time to assess the safety and or danger of the situation. This is a pretty safe situation. Our muscles are pretty strong. They can handle this. So let's move the ball to another really, really fleshy spot. And let's do a few more windshield wipers. And as you're doing this, breathe in and out through the nose, nice and low in your belly. You can find another super fleshy spot. And at this point, the tennis ball has hopefully made its rounds around this whole really big fleshy booty of yours. All right, let's find another spot here, fleshy spot. And what we'll do here is we'll meet with the soles of the feet on the ground. And the feet are pressing down, so the legs are a little bit active. And the left side of the pelvis is lifted up off the floor a little bit, just so that the hips can be even. If you're more comfortable letting that side relax, you can do that as well. Let's see here. Keep the ball where it is, but bring the right knee up over the hip. And now move that leg around in the socket. Use your left leg to hold the pelvis where it is. And if you find, like a really juicy spot there, linger and move around over that tender spot a little bit. Let's bring the knee into the belly. And then you decide here, like when the knee comes way in, like, wow, it's stretching the butt. So when the knee comes all the way in, the butt is stretched and you're putting that tennis ball in a stretched muscle. Now let's see if you can push the foot forward and straighten the foot forward. And when you do that, it's lifted up off the floor. When you do that, squeeze your butt muscles. So see now if you can actually activate them. The brain goes back and forth. Then bend the knee, pull the knee into the belly, relax the muscle, let it stretch out. Then push through the heel, squeeze your butt muscle, let your brain amp up a contraction. Then relax the muscle, pull the knee in, and contract and push the foot forward. Let's go ahead, take that right foot down to the floor there, lift the hips up, remove the tennis ball, take the hips down. Now you could really spend another 10 minutes on this side, on that butt, but see how your legs feel here. Could you stretch both legs out? And now could you squeeze both butt muscles? See how different they are from each other and relax them. And squeeze both butt muscles and relax. And do that one more time. All right, let's step the feet in close to the pelvis. We'll trade sides. So taking the tennis ball underneath the left buttocks at the upper rim towards the inside, you're trying to find that rainbow arc of your pelvis, and you're gonna start to roll your hip over the tennis ball, kind of tracing that. It's like a big rainbow shape, the upper rim of the pelvis. So you're working out where the big butt muscles start on the body. And now starting to roll it around more on the really fleshy part of the butt. Let's find a position for the tennis ball to be in and then lean the knees over to the left any amount. And pause there a little bit, breathe, and then bringing them back up. And let's do that a couple of times, trying to move slow with control. Pay attention to the sensation in the butt muscle. And if you find that the ball is not well positioned, reposition it. When you've done about 4 of those twists, maybe find another position for the ball someplace else on the glute. And then another 4 twists over to that side. Stay relaxed here on your breathing because that's going to give clear signaling to the brain that we are in relaxation mode here. Hello, brain, I would like you to figure out how to please relax these muscles. If you didn't move the ball, you can move the ball one more time and take a few more little twists. And this side is way more challenging for my brain to understand. Let's come back to center, find a comfortable position, kind of in the center of the buttock for the ball. And sitting the hips down, but the right hip is still ever so slightly lifted, and the foot and the leg are working to help make that happen. Now we see if we can pull the knee right up. Now the buttock muscle is stretched, and you see, can you breathe? Can you let the muscle relax over the ball. Then slowly starting to move that knee around. Some hip movement here. And we're trying to keep a little bit of activation in the right side. So the brain is always trying to figure out this orchestration between activation and relaxation. Okay, so pulling that left knee into the belly. The muscle stretches, relax it over the ball, and then push through the heel, stretch the left leg forward towards straight. Squeeze your buttock muscle over the ball. And then bend the knee, draw the knee in. Squeeze your buttock, press the heel forward. One more time. Releasing the foot to the floor. As you feel ready, lifting the hips, removing the ball, taking the hips down, seeing how your hips feel here. We can even take the legs long again. Do another little test here. So with the legs long, you can squeeze both sides of your butt. Feel the difference between the left and the right. And then release. And squeeze both sides of your butt. And release. Squeeze both sides of your butt. And release. Now just your right side. Release. Just your left side. Release. 2 more times on each side. Trying to slow the ramp up and the relaxation down. All right, one more thing to do here for our hips and our low back. If we step the feet in closer to the pelvis, this time we'll take the tennis ball above the pelvis to the low back on the right side. So you're avoiding the spine, you're avoiding the bones. And here again, we can take some time to roll over the ball. Do you have any favorite things you like to do with the low back here?
Kind of the same thing as when you were rolling it underneath. You just roll it on the top or along the rim.
Yeah, roll it along the rim, the top rim of the pelvis. Ollie does this like, what would you say, 3 times a week? 4 times? Like at least once a week. 3 times a week might be a lot, but and the key here is really breathing in a nice, relaxed way. And when you're ready for your other side, you can lift up, take the tennis ball over to the other side. Same thing. You find a spot that's next to bones, but not on top of it. And you may find that you like to be here for a much longer period of time, in which case, be on your own. You can let the video finish before you do. You might start to sense that there are some other parts of your body that might need some TLC like this. There are things you could do for your shoulders, for your chest, for your arms, and your neck with a tennis ball as well. But this can be just a really great way to open up the entire back line of the body. Just these 3 things that we did right now, the feet, the butt, and the low back, will open up the entire backside of the body, hopefully relieve any sort of lingering tightness or soreness that you have there. And coming back to this often so that you continually teach yourself how to relax. The other component is activation, which is what most of our other classes are for. And so that also has to happen for all of this stuff to feel good. We can't just be in passive modality land. And so when you feel ready from here, go ahead, lift your hips, release them down, take the tennis ball, breathe into your lower belly. Now, it kind of depends on where you are energetically, because you might just be very down-regulated here. You might like to take a little Shavasana for a few moments. But it's morning for us, and it'll be good for us to start our day with a little bit of movement. So if you'd like to take this newfound fascial opening and stretch it a little bit and see what happens, go ahead and come over to your side. And in your own time, up to a seat. You can do anything you like in a seat that feels good to you. If you'd like to do a little bit of stretching or just a little bit of twisting, acclimating to, whoa, here we are. And then from here, coming over into a hands and knees position. And in a hands and knees position, gripping the floor a little bit. If you feel called to move in a particular way, please go do that. I'm just going to move around in the hips a little bit, hips and shoulders, seeing if I can feel my arms be nice, strong supporters of my shoulders. Hearing a little clicking and popping in the joints, that can be normal. Typically that happens when things are trying to figure out what their jobs are. And then in a tabletop position, grip the floor with your fingers so you're not just dumping into your wrists. Tuck the toes, see if you can hold a neutral spine as you shift the knees up off the floor an inch. Try not to freak out here as you press through the hands forward, stretching the pelvis up and back. And start maybe widening the feet, maybe bending the knees, pedaling the feet out there. Seeing if this downward facing dog, how accessible does this feel now that we've stretched out the soles of the feet, we've stretched out the big butt muscles. Everything between those 2 points will have benefited from that. And then let's push off the hands, walking back towards the feet. And you can have your hands reaching forward in front of you to the floor, to a piece of furniture, or maybe you don't like that and you say, you know what, I want my hands resting in towards the feet. But seeing here if you can get your feet grounded, your legs drawing up into the pelvis, no matter how bent they are. Maybe rocking forward and backward on the feet as long as you can manage the balance of all of that. And just feeling how that changes the sensation through the back line of the body there. As you feel ready, deepen the bend in the knees, curl the tailbone down and slowly roll all the way up to stand. When you get all the way up, maybe you reach. Maybe you move around in the spine a little bit at the top, a little tick-tock left and right, stretching through the ribs. You might even curl that down, like you're ticking over to the left, but then you curl your heart towards your pinky toe and come around to the front and curl your heart towards your other pinky toe. And as you feel ready from here, releasing the hands down by the side, get a little openness through the chest here as you stand up nice and tall and neutral through the spine, widening the arms out. Feel your neck kind of pull back. You can twist in the chin here a little bit, trying to get your neck into a position where it doesn't feel like it's overly working. Take the hands down, bring the arms out. Doing that a couple of times. Feeling how this opens your chest and your lungs, your lower belly. As you feel ready from here, bend the knees, sweep the arms all the way up to the sky. Bend the knees, hinge from the hips as you come forward to that nice forward fold, and just feel the pose here. Sway to the left, to the right. And as we feel ready, let's walk ourselves forward to that downward facing dog, gripping the floor with the fingers, feeling the position in the legs. Shift the shoulders forward, tap the knees down to the floor. And then stretching the feet here, keep the toes curled under, walk yourself back as much as you can, even to the point of you coming up. Feel your feet stretch out here. See if that feels a little bit more accessible to you because we did that tennis ball work. And as you feel ready, lean back forward, point the toes, connect the big toes at the same spot on each side as you send the hips back towards the heels. Maybe the heart travels toward the floor, but maybe you also are just more in an upright position if that feels better on your joints. Seeing if you can connect your forehead down to something. Maybe it's the floor, maybe it's stacked hands, maybe it's a yoga block that you have close by. See if you can take a few deep breaths into the lowest part of your belly. And when you do that, feel your low back inflate towards the ceiling. Feel your buttocks stretch down away from your ribs. When you're ready, you can go ahead and come on up to a comfortable seated position if that's what you'd like to do. You are more than welcome now to do any amount more movement. You could do another yoga class if you'd like to use this as a nice way to warm up and set your nervous system in a really great place to go do something else now. Thank you so much. I hope you feel amazing after this practice. If you have another part of your body that you'd like a little tennis ball relief with, leave it in the comments below and we can start building out a little series around this. And if this is your first time practicing with us, make sure you check us out everywhere that we are online. We have free classes every week. And on our website, yogainyourlivingroom.com, we have a full library curated by different collections of things to really help you with your aches and pains. We're completely donation-based here. So if you'd like to make a donation to us for this work, that would totally make our day. You can do that on our website as well. And on our website, you can also sign up for what we call the weekly letter. That is also a free gift to the community. And in that weekly letter, we send it out every week. It has movement, tips, insights, stories, and then links to everything new for that week. Yoga classes, blog posts, Zoom events, things like that. Thank you so much for joining. Have a wonderful day.